Because I can't stand being a pawn. The chessboard of power crackled around them. Iwanya's face was a mask of barely contained rage. Wai Yonho stood with his back to the old man, fists clenched. He was tired of being controlled on someone else's board. Wai Yonho's thoughts drifted back to the past. Did you know that I knew martial arts? I thought it was strange. No matter how crazy people are about Go, it makes no sense to travel 1,000 miles just for a single match. Wai Yonho thought back to the events that led him here. And yet, an excessive number of people gathered here, claiming they wanted to play Go. A plan was probably already in motion, and I just happened to show up. In any case, that's when Nak Mokbung appeared, and all hell broke loose. At that moment, I had to make a decision. He considered his options. Which side should I follow? Shouldn't you have obviously followed us? Wai Yonho reasoned, because there was a higher probability that Nak Mokbung's words were true. Even if the joint letter was a fake, someone with the status of Iwangya was secretly gathering the most influential figures in the land. It's hard to believe that situation was purely for friendly networking. The most likely scenario, no matter what anyone says, is treason. The old man questioned him. And yet you helped us? Wai Yonho admitted, because that girl called out to me. If I hadn't been caught, I was honestly just going to run away. But that girl, she really seemed to know nothing at all. That's why I couldn't turn away. My master used to say, ideals are important, and the world is important, but if you fail to see the person right in front of you, it's all for nothing. So that's why you acted so suspiciously in the middle of it all. To gauge my reaction. Because I was pissed off. Iwangya stares intently. I'll ask you directly, are you plotting treason? And if I were to say yes, what would you do? Then I'd finally be able to sleep with my feet stretched out. Even if I'm plotting treason, should I wish you success? Do you have no loyalty to the imperial family? It's not like His Majesty the Emperor has ever given me anything. Why would I? If I had to choose, I'd rather cheer for you, Your Highness. Iwangya's expression darkens. After all, you're the one who at least gave me gold. Iwangya narrowed his eyes, considering Wai Yonho's words. Kahahaha, I knew you were a cunning one, but now I see you've completely surpassed my expectations. Yes, you are correct. However, I swear on my life, we are not plotting treason. We were merely gathering a force to stand against Nakji. I see. The problem is that Nakji has also realized this. Do you know why Nakji sent Nak Mokbung? It was to have him die by my hand. His goal wasn't to capture me, but to have me kill Nak Mokbung. If that happened, Nakji would use it as a pretext to somehow reveal that I had been hiding my martial arts and had gathered all these people. That's when you stepped in. If I offended you, I apologize. The game of Go you spoke of being used as a pawn was never my intention. At that moment, both I and Yuvin, who is here, we're desperate. I understand. Please believe me, I said. I get it. Then, will you accept the position of Royal Secret Inspector? Let me say this in advance. I will absolutely never go looking for trouble myself. Iwangya remained unmoved. I don't care. Because even if you don't wish for it, the world will never leave you alone. Wai Yonho's inner voice dryly commented. Is that a curse? That is the path of a hero. Wai Yonho flatly refused. I'll pass. Destiny is not something you can pass on. Wai Yonho turned on his heel. Then I'll be leaving now. Iwangya nodded slowly. Go ahead, I am leaving today as well. I sincerely hope we never see each other again. A knowing smirk played on Iwangya's lips. For some reason, I feel like we'll be seeing each other again very soon. Wai Yonho paused, a shiver running down his spine, as he walked away. Iwangya asked, what do you think of him? The man responded, he's more than I expected. I anticipated his martial arts would be strong, but I didn't know he was a master of such a level that he could see through my own. Iwangya's face darkened. I thought I'd found a divine dragon, but it seems I brought in a monster instead. If I'm not careful, I could be devoured. His companion replied, a risk of that magnitude is worth taking. Iwangya paused, considering this. Perhaps, if it were only about his martial prowess. But his cunning is beyond ordinary. He grasped the entire situation, yet he didn't make a move until the very end. He isn't just strong. Who in the world raised such a monster? Iwangya commanded. In any case, investigate everything about that man. Even if you can't find his dead master, you must find out which family he belongs to. Do you understand? The man bowed his head. Yes, sir. Under the watchful gaze of the moon, Wai Yonho relaxed on the roof, enjoying the night air. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. Are you leaving? Wai Yonho turned to see Iwangya standing below. He replied, to the owner of the house who fed and sheltered me. I wasn't planning on leaving without saying goodbye. Iwangya probed further. Even if not right now, you plan to leave soon, don't you? Wai Yonho confirmed yes. Wai Yonho continued, in any case, I've seen and learned a great deal while I was here. Iwangya raised an eyebrow. And what did you learn? Wai Yonho mused. If I were to mention only the two most important things, one is that even people who read books cannot live their lives like the books they read. Indeed. The other is that this place, the Rulin, is far more frightening than I thought. Iwangya stroked his mustache, inquiring, frightening? Why Yonho nodded, because I never imagined he would be in the ruling of all the people I've seen since I entered the Murim. The strongest master. Iwanya's martial arts are certainly incredible. Why Yonho smirked, but then Iwanya cut straight to the point. Shouldn't you stop the act now? Why Yonho feigned surprise. You knew? Iwanya confirmed, yes, from the very beginning. That is a bit troublesome. I have a favor to ask. I won't tell anyone. I'm counting on you. I wish to continue living as a scholar. Iwanya stroked his mustache. In return, just tell me one thing. Please speak. Why Yonho looked away, a shadow crossing his face. My master told me to go to the ruling and see the world, so I expected to see things like justice and integrity here. But what I saw instead seems to be the ugliness of the world. Iwanya listened intently, his expression unreadable. Everyone studies the classics and holds their own ideals in their hearts, but the ideals that each person holds are all different. And when those ideals clash, people come to realize that in order to realize their ideals, they must first overcome reality. Why Yonho continued, his voice tinged with bitterness. Everyone knows that the knots entangling the world must be untied, but untying those knots takes far too much time. Furthermore, even if you invest the time, there is no guarantee the knots will come undone. In the end, those who grow impatient start looking for a way to cut the knot. He gestured towards the chessboard. And that is the true nature of the cunning and dirty schemes you speak of, like sacrificing your own life, or sending your own adopted son to his death. Why Yonho turned back to Iwanya, his gaze piercing. Is the whole world like this? The Imperial Palace has aspects that are even worse, but other places are not so different. Why Yonho looked away, lost in thought. I have no idea what my master wanted me to see in the world. I don't know what he wanted me to see and feel. The world moves too fast for a lazy person like me to see, feel, and understand. Suddenly, a voice echoed, and isn't that fine? Pardon? If the world is fast, you can just follow it slowly. The voice continued. A diligent person may see and learn many things, but a lazy person might be able to see things more clearly. Why Yonho's eyes narrowed slightly. If you decide beforehand what you will see and what you will feel, then what meaning is there in it? The voice pressed on. Walk with your own steps, and see the world through your own eyes. If you do, the world will show you the path you must take. As I am, see the world as it is. Why Yonho closed his eyes, considering the words. As it is. The voice urged him to feel it. Feel it. Why Yonho sat in meditation, bathed in blue light under the full moon. Iwanya's face was stern, his gaze intense. Iwanya stood behind him, a silent, imposing figure. Why Yonho's expression shifted, a hint of understanding dawning in his eyes. Iwanya watched him, waiting patiently. Iwanya asked, do you feel like you understand something? Why Yonho responded, to be honest, I'm not really sure. Iwanya chuckled. Ha ha ha, that is enough. It is something to be understood with the heart. Iwanya turned and walked away. He paused, glancing back. I hope that you will one day find the answer. Why Yonho watched him leave. He smirked, a glint in his eye. Why Yonho fell back onto the roof, splayed out like he was trying to make a rooftop snow angel. I feel like I'm sensing something. Could the inner core my master gave me be having some kind of effect? He stared up at the night sky, wondering what was happening to him. Suddenly, Baek Muhan's spectral form appeared. Have you attained enlightenment? Why Yonho looked up at the spirit, a bit dazed. He closed his eyes for a moment, considering the question. I'm not sure yet, master. Next time someone asks, didn't you say you received the consignment item? The answer is yes. That is, the consignment item. Why Yonho becomes the consignment. Why Yonho continued to laze about. Didn't you say you were leaving? Well, it's late today, so I'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow? It's already been 2 weeks since you said that. I might be a little late, you know. That's true, but still. Thanks for summoning the Dragon Escort Agency. The man looked back at Wai Yonho, confused. So what exactly are we supposed to be hauling? A woman pointed dramatically. That thing. Wai Yonho pointed to himself, a look of disbelief on his face. Me. That's a person. It just looks human. It's a burden, really. We do escort people too, but we have a different carriage for them. We are only prepared to transport goods right now. No need to worry about that. You take animals like cows and chickens in there, right? He looks human, but he's basically an animal. Just throw him in a carriage and give him 3 meals a day. He won't complain. I'll pay you like you're escorting a person though. No, I'll pay you double that. So please take him away from here. Even if you say that, triple. There are rules. Quadruple. This way please. What is this about? You're sending me away like some trash? You sure are quick to catch on. Why Yonho, never one to miss an opportunity, responds, you're very convincing. He turns to the men, ready to be rid of him. So go with them. My mom told me not to follow strangers, he reassures her. It's alright. They're trustworthy people. I checked. Don't worry about it. But still, Why Yonho stretches, ready to leave. I'm gonna get going then. I didn't expect to leave so suddenly. The girl waves goodbye to him. Goodbye. Take care. She can't help but smile. You seem really happy. Is it that obvious? One of the men motions for him to get on the cart. Let's go. Why Yonho, finally free from responsibility, relaxes on the cart. Why Yonho relaxes on the cart, finally free from responsibility. Suddenly, he hears a shout. Hey! He looks up, surprised. The girl waves goodbye. Take care. Why Yonho is indignant. You're saying that after kicking me out? She retorts. Stop being so lazy too. Wai Yonho casually replies yeah. The cart rumbles along, carrying Wai Yonho away from his responsibilities. Before Wai Yonho could respond, the girl's father told her, "Let's go inside." She replied, "Yes, father." They turned and walked back into their estate. The girl glanced back. A smile played on her lips. She called out, "Goodbye, strange lazy boy." Wai Yonho continued his journey. Meanwhile, the cart driver wiped his brow and muttered, "So, the item you're transporting, Swift Dragon Escort Agency Head Escort Leader Gok Bihung." The cart driver and his companion stared at the sleeping Wai Yonho. "Is this?" "Yes." "Are you kidding me right now? Don't you know that there are many more things you should prepare when you're escorting a person?" The other man sighed. "We wanted to turn down the request, but it was a request by the Great Hanlem Institute." He glanced back at the sleeping Wai Yonho. "How long has he been in that state?" "Ever since we left." The cart driver leaned in for a closer look. "Isn't he sore or anything?" "It's impressive, really. The Great Hanlem Institute said that if we just feed him like he's some cow or chicken, he will not cause trouble." "I don't get it." Suddenly, Wai Yonho stirred. Hey, what?" "Ahem. I'm the head escort leader, Gok Bihung. I'm in charge of this escort mission, okay? This trip is for transporting goods, not people. So if you come with, it might be pretty uncomfortable. Are you alright with that?" "Don't worry. I'm here as a good, not as a person. But it'll be uncomfortable." "That's fine. All I have to do is sit still, and you guys will take me to my destination." "You sure are optimistic." "Then we'll get going." "Alright." 5 days after leaving the Great Hanlem Institute. "I'm getting tired of this. If I'm awake, I fall asleep. If I'm sleeping, my damned master appears in my dreams and harasses me. How many times do I have to tell you that you need to be faster even if you have to compensate with less G in your sword? The damn dream training mythic arts. How long is this gonna be for? It's not for my entire life, is it?" "Oh, whatever. Wait. Who's there?" "Hi, Gok Bihung of the Swift Dragon Escort Agency. Request to meet you." Wai Yonho, still lazing about, asks, "Bandits?" Gok Bihung peers into the forest. "No one's coming out." "That's not good." Gok Bihung's eyes narrow. "If they're stalling for time like this, it either means they're amateur bandits, or a really dangerous person going after our carriages." Gok Bihung draws his sword. "It'd be nice if it were the former, but I can't get a proper read on the presence in the bushes. It's not some amateur bandit." Gok Bihung announces, "Let me repeat myself. I am Gok Bihung of the Swift Dragon Escort Agency. Please come on out. Otherwise, I will take it as a sign that you have every intention of fighting us." Suddenly, the ground vibrated slightly. Gok Bihung's eyes narrowed. Sensing something was amiss, he squinted, trying to get a better look. A figure emerged, stomping the ground. The man announced, "I'm Peng Dojuk of the Hubei Peng clan." Gok Bihung replied, "I'm Gok Bihung of the Swift Dragon Escort Agency." "What brings you here?" Peng Dojuk pleaded. "I am being chased by enemies. I cannot lose them. Please help me. It might become a threat to the Jianghu. That is how I met the guy who slammed the door in your face." Peng Dojuk. At that moment, he also sensed that Wai Yonho was watching him. Wai Yonho smirked. Did not know. Wai Yonho had no idea what was coming. He was about to be dragged down, kicking and screaming. That meeting would push him into a river of misfortunes. The Peng family may be full of muscleheads, but when it comes to cultivation, no one surpasses them. If even someone from that family is saying this, it must be serious. But what can we? People are chasing me. Just help me get off this mountain, and I'll reward you. We'll help. For now, hide inside that cargo. Quickly. Yes. Wai Yonho watched the scene unfold, a sly grin spreading across his face. Wai Yonho settled into the cart, making himself comfortable. Get in. Thank you. The cart driver instructed Peng Dojuk. Don't make a sound, he replied. I understand. Wai Yonho listened in, a smirk playing on his lips. What a bleeding heart. Not that I hate that about him. Peng Dojuk, ever the noble soul, apologized. I'm sorry for dragging you into danger. If this ends well, I'll make sure to reward you all. One of the escort members grumbled. What good's a reward if we're already dead? That is. His comrade snapped back. Do you have no shame? You're risking everyone's lives. If you had any decency, you'd have walked away. The leader interjected. Enough. Stop talking. Just stay quiet. Understood. The cart driver, still blissfully unaware of Wai Yonho's eavesdropping, continued on his way. He muttered to himself, we're nearly off the mountain. Good thing no one's come for Peng Dojuk yet. Did we really slip away? Suddenly, a voice boomed out, halt. Before they could react, the cart was swarmed by masked figures, swords drawn. A figure with a green mask and a gleaming blade stood out among the attackers. The cart driver's eyes widened in terror. That's the Green Forest? The leader of the escort stepped forward, attempting to defuse the situation. I am Gok Bihung Escort Agency. Greetings to the heroes of the Green Forest. The Green Forest leader demanded, have you seen a young man dressed in red? Red clothes? We haven't seen anyone like that. He narrowed his eyes suspiciously. Is that so? If you're lying, you won't leave here unharmed. Gak Bihong spread his arms wide, trying to appear innocent. I don't know what you mean. Why would I lie? The Queryong Escort Agency has always had good relations with the Green Forest. Why risk turning us into enemies over some stranger we don't even know? One of the Green Forest members pointed towards the cart. What's that thing? Huh? Why Yonho, seeing an opportunity to cause chaos, chimed in. I'm the escort item. The Green Forest member was taken aback. What the hell does that mean? Gak Bihong quickly intervened, trying to salvage the situation. He's weak in body and not right in the head. We're taking him to a clinic. Pay him no mind. Now, as you were saying, you've no reason to fight the Green Forest. Of course, why would we do something so foolish? Indeed, no reason at all. But the problem's already begun because of that bastard in the carriage. Didn't I ask if you'd seen a man in red? But I'm not wearing red. That man isn't in red, is he? Are you mocking me? Did he know all along that we were hiding Ping Dojuk? Then let's do this. I'll kill one of you. If no one speaks up, I'll kill another. One by one. I'll find out if you're truly innocent. I bet before I cut down a third, someone will admit they saw him. What kind of monster? So then, who wants to die first? You. Me? The masked man pressed the escort, demanding, answer me. Did you see a young man in red? The escort stammered. I. The masked man threatened. Your life hangs on this, answered the escort, terrified, squealed. I didn't see anyone. The masked man declared, then you can die. The escort cursed, damn it. Suddenly, a voice boomed. He's right here. The masked man's eyes widened in disbelief. Everyone was caught off guard by the sudden interruption. The masked man couldn't believe his ears. What did you just say? Wai Yonho casually kicked the side of the cart. He's right here. Wai Yonho gestured lazily. The man you're looking for. Wai Yonho smirked. That punk bastard. Wai Yonho hopped off the cart, landing gracefully between the two groups. Hey, you've been found. Come on out. What are you doing? It's fine, mister. Nothing's more foolish than dying for someone else. The masked man's frustration reached a boiling point. What the hell are you doing, kid? Going to wait until everyone dies before stepping out? Wai Yonho remained perched atop the cart, unfazed by the outburst. With a Ping Dojuk emerged from the barrel, his expression grim. He addressed Wai Yonho directly. If you'd run, you might have had a slim chance. But now you crawl out on your own. If I hadn't, you would have killed them all. Trying to play the righteous hero at the end? Ping Dojuk stood tall, his voice resolute. I, Ping Dojuk, may not be a righteous warrior, but I won't stand by and watch innocent people die because of me. He turned to the escort agency members, bowing his head slightly. Thank you for helping me, but this is my problem. Please leave. They're after me. If I go, your agency will be safe. But young master, I'll be fine. Gak Bihong's expression hardened as he stared at the approaching enemies. We couldn't avoid them anyway. Gak Bihong stared at the approaching enemies, a bead of sweat trickling down his temple. Then I wish you good fortune in battle. Let's go. Suddenly, one of the escorts called out, wait. He protested, you can't? What do you mean? You are planning to confront the Green Forest, right? Why? They'll rush us with blades, and we'll all be cut down. Why would they attack us? Head of agency, are you really this clueless? The Green Forest is strong, but even they don't want a feud with the Peng family. What do you think happens if we survive and spread word that someone from the Peng family was killed by them? The entire Peng clan would storm this mountain. To avoid that, they'll slaughter us all to keep us all quiet. Gak Bihong paused, considering the grim logic. That makes sense. I hadn't thought that far, but you're right. Oh, you didn't think of that? You crazy bastard. I'll take responsibility for this. I'll handle them. I'll hold them off. So from here. Ha, that's rich. You hide in our escort, drag us into this mess, and now you talk about responsibility? That's like pushing someone off a cliff with one rope, then boasting you tried to save them. How long can a man who was already running for his life even last? You're just a drowning man, pulling everyone else down with you. No, worse. At least a drowning man only drags a few down. What do you even call this? And what's the point of running? They already know we're the Queryong Escort Agency. We'll be wiped out before word even reaches the Peng family. Then, what do? We fight against them? If we run, our escort members fight alone. If we fight now, at least that drowning man will fight with us. I see, you're right. You truly won't let us go. I'm done repeating myself. The masked man shouts, attack. He swings his sword, yelling, don't blame me for your deaths. Blades clash, the fight is on. Wai Yonho thinks to himself, they say the martial world is vast. If I'd known how wide and deadly it really is, I'd never have set foot in it. Ever since I was praised as a rising star, arrogance crept into me without me knowing, like a poison. This is all my fault. The battle rages around him, a whirlwind of steel and desperation. Because of me, everyone here will. It's over, kid. Everyone. I'm sorry. With a blinding flash, the swords clashed. The force of the blows sent Ping Dojuk flying, his sword clattering to the ground. Gak Bihong's face twisted in fury. Wai Yonho watched from his perch on the cart, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. He smirked. You lot are a real piece of work. The Green Forest member and Gak Bihong's men are stunned, exclaiming, What? Gak Bihong's eyes narrowed. So, he watched Ping Dojuk being knocked out by Wai Yonho's bow. The thing that knocked him out is that bow? Gak Bihong's focus snapped back to the fight. You're getting distracted again. One of the escort members cried out, Cook, you brought over all the enemies, and now you're going to die without having done your share of the fighting? You really are a water ghost. From his perch on the cart, Yonho watched the battle unfold. Geez, you're gonna die at that rate. Suddenly, a figure cloaked in blue energy appeared, striking down one of the Green Forest members. Gak Bihong watched as the blue figure struck down one of the Green Forest members. And what the hell is he doing there? He couldn't believe what he was seeing. What? Gak Bihong knew he had to refocus. I need to get it together. This isn't the time to be curious. He steeled his resolve. What I can do right now is... He channeled his energy, preparing his most powerful technique, 5 Tiger's Gate Destroying Blade. He roared, ready to unleash his fury. To fight as many as I can. The Green Forest members unleashed a flurry of attacks. Gak Bihong realized, right, this isn't a duel. There's no need to try and deflect or block those. He was quickly overwhelmed by the sheer number of opponents. I'm gonna die, he thought, panic rising. The Green Forest warriors pressed their advantage, swords flying. Yonho watched the scene unfold from his perch, completely unbothered. Just die, man! Gak Bihong, struggling to stay alive, cried out in desperation. Come down and help me. Yonho watched Gak Bihong's futile struggle and thought to himself, I'm an item to be transported, remember? What the hell is he on about? Gak Bihong, still desperately trying to fend off the Green Forest warriors, pleaded, yes, but this isn't the time to be thinking about that. Why is he agreeing? Yonho, remembering a past conversation, replied, some mean girl told me that if something were to happen, I should stay up here instead of causing more trouble. She said that otherwise, I'd be doing the Hanlim Institute harm and that she'd chase me until the ends of earth to harass me. Gak Bihong, now on the verge of collapse, begged, I'll take responsibility. So please, just help me. Yonho responded, I don't know, I tend to keep the promises that I make. Gak Bihong, trying a different tactic, stammered, don't you think you'll be uncomfortable on your journey if we die? I'm not really comfy right now either though. Right. I'm sure it's really uncomfortable, Gak Bihong exclaimed, seeing a glimmer of hope. If things go well, let's rest for 2 days at an inn in the next town we come across. Yonho's ears perked up. 2 days? You can eat all you want, too. I even get food? Yes. So please help me, you donkey. Gak Bihong's desperation was palpable, but one of the Green Forest bandits was less than impressed. What the hell is this conversation? Gak Bihong, ignoring the interruption, pressed on. You promise? Yes. Suddenly, the box next to Yonho burst open, sending bowls flying everywhere. Yonho grinned, a blue aura erupting around him as he effortlessly deflected the incoming attacks. The Green Forest warriors were sent flying. Gak Bihong could only stare in stunned silence. What? The Green Forest bandits lay scattered, defeated by Yonho's sudden burst of power. One of the masked men could only stare in disbelief. He's a martial master. Yonho took a step forward. He looked over at the cart. Hey, Peng Dojuk nervously replied, yes? Yonho's expression darkened. You brought those guys here. Shouldn't you be trying your best to help if you have any sense of guilt? Gak Bihong, still reeling from the recent turn of events, chimed in, clearly upset. You get into trouble and bring those guys to us. You're not even doing your share of fighting. I'd get it if you were trying your best, but you got distracted and almost got killed. What the hell's wrong with you? Yonho pointed at Gak Bihong, laying down some brutal truth. If you have a head, then think. Here, look. You use a blade. Strong, heavy, but slow. What are you gonna do fighting multiple people with a slow sword? Are you trying to pull a suicide mission? Gak Bihong stammered. No. Yonho continued his tirade. Then wait for your turn, or just go for one guy at a time. Yes, sir. Same with the move from earlier. Why would you waste that on air? Yonho held out his hand, demanding, gimme. Gak Bihong could only stare at his empty hands, utterly bewildered. He took my blade away from me before I could even react? Yonho unleashed a flurry of strikes. What you did here is this. Yonho unleashed a technique, creating a shockwave of destruction. The man was stunned. The 5 Tiger's Gate Destroying Blade? He couldn't believe it. How does he know it? Did he copy it just from watching me earlier? Yonho continued his impromptu lesson. If you're gonna fight multiple people, you should at least try to swing it faster. Just because there's less chi in the blade doesn't mean that the opponent won't die once they're struck, right? Right. There are times when you should sacrifice strength for greater speed, just as there are times when you should be slower but have more strength. Why is that so hard to understand? I'm sorry. Why am I apologizing to him right now? Yonho wasn't done. Then do better. The masked man stood frozen, unsure of what to do next. Even if he had to lessen the amount of chi in the blade, he'd focus on speed and precision. Here he goes. The masked man and his crew decided discretion was the better part of valor. We'll come for you later. Gak Bihong watched them flee, clearly frustrated. This is so frustrating. Yonho clasped his hands together. Thanks for everything. No need. We're getting paid, after all. But it was easygoing thanks to you. Gak Bihong bowed respectfully. Thank you too. We'll never forget you saving our lives. Yonho, ever the pragmatist, tilted his head. Just verbal gratitude? I'm just kidding. I'll take whatever from that Pink Clan bastard. But why were you so cold to him? Yonho reclined lazily on the cart. There was no need to chase him out like he really was a ghost. Fuck off. The agency head looked up at him, confused. Mister? Why Yonho continued, you would have died if I wasn't there. The others here too, just because of that one guy. Gok Bihong considered this. That's true, however. It looked like he had his reasons. It seemed like he was doing something good. Why Yonho scoffed. Something good? Yeah. Gok Bihong's expression turned serious. Does that justify killing people? Why Yonho continued to expound on his worldview. Master said, there is nothing more stupid than risking your life for something that is not related to you, that I need to prioritize myself. I know people value justice and all that, but if there are people who must be sacrificed for it, I'm better off not having this greater good. I need to be happy before others can be happy. Meaning, my priority needs to be me. He shrugged. Didn't you suffer enough damage to care about that guy anyway? Haha, well, both the goods and the martial artists of the Swift Dragon Escort Agency are safe. Why Yonho glanced at the flag of the Venerate Heaven Orthodox Murim Alliance. The Venerate Heaven Orthodox Murim Alliance is supposed to take care of the Green Forest matter. The 5 great clans and 10 sects union. That's good to hear. I hope I'll get to see you again. Gok Bihong looked concerned. Probably not. Don't say something so ominous. Why Yonho waved a hand dismissively, already walking away. Goodbye. It would be so nice if he were a bit more disciplined. Why Yonho, meanwhile, had arrived at his destination. Finally, I'm here. Nature's Hand Manor, Guangdong's Y Clan. Back at the Y Clan, the elders were still searching for their missing heir. We didn't find him this time either. I'm sure he's alive somewhere. Where are you, Yonho? Suddenly, a messenger burst into the room. Patriarch, what is it? There's a message. Suddenly, the messenger announced, Young Master Y Yonho sent a letter. TSK. Even a simple plan failed. Were you really that afraid to die? No. If I had died at Iwenga's hands, my death would have had meaning. But I fought someone else. So even if I died there, it would have done nothing to harm Iwenga. I'm not afraid of death, but I do fear a meaningless one. I wish to lay down my life only where it has worth. Father, remember this. I do not keep useless dogs. If you wish to remain by my side, you must at least be capable of fetching a bone. I will remember. Go now. Yes, sir. In the end, he'll have to enter the forest. A useless, ambitious pig. Meanwhile, back at the Y Clan, that eunuch doesn't know his place. Naki still has value. He says we should keep him alive for now. You've come. He claims that simply by existing, Naki can hold back the imperial family. If that's the case, why can't I do it? How long must I flatter that castrated fool? His Highness says you have other duties. There has been a summons from the main estate. You are ordered to return as soon as possible. In that case, he grinned, finally able to drop the act. I can finally rid myself of this wretched disguise. He mused on his future plans. Naki is destined to be discarded once his usefulness ends. We'll simply leave him be until then. After that, everything Naki possesses will be mine. It seems the imperial family isn't in much of a hurry. He wondered, what are my brothers doing these days? One of his men answered, I'm not sure, but I heard they've moved on from the Confucian faction to meddle with the medical clan lately. He paused, thinking. The medical clan. Meanwhile, Wai Yonho had arrived at his destination, Lustful Hand Grounds. The clerk looked up in confusion. You've come to the wrong place. He paused. Huh? The clerk clarified, holding up a letter. That's a letter of recommendation to the Sacred Hand Grounds. This place is the Lustful Hand Grounds. The clerk handed him a letter. You said you wanted to go to the medical clan? The Sacred Hand Grounds in Hobak is famous throughout the land for its medical. By chance, I'm acquainted with the current hall master, so I'll write you a letter of recommendation. Show this letter, and they'll surely treat you well. The clerk clarified the situation. Then, this isn't Sacred Hand Grounds? This is Sacred Hand Grounds too, but it's not the one you're looking for. If you want to reach your goal, cross the street and go down the alley to the other Sacred Hand Grounds. Though, I doubt you'll find anything worth your expectations there. Wai Yonho realized he was in the wrong place, so this wasn't the place. Suddenly, a desperate plea broke the silence. Please, sir, please save my wife. A man begged for help. I promise I'll repay the money. If you don't help us, my father will die. But the cold response was, I told you, no money means no treatment. Wai Yonho's expression darkened. I thought the medical clan was supposed to save lives. Yet even they turned their backs. Sir, please, the man cried out. So in the end, it all comes down to money. Anyway, they said to cross the street and head into the alley. Wai Yonho followed the directions. He found the sign, Sacred Hand Grounds. So this is it. He approached the building. Wai Yonho squinted. Is this really the 500-year-old medical clan? Is anyone here? A voice called out. What brings you here? Wai Yonho stated plainly. I have business here. Is the head in? Yes. Please let me see the head. Go ahead and speak. Wai Yonho's brow furrowed in confusion. I said I want to see the head. What do you mean by speak? Is he not here? The boy straightened his posture. My father passed away last year. So now, I'm the head of Sacred Hand Grounds. Head of Sacred Hand Grounds Jin Soa. Wai Yonho's face crumpled in disbelief. And you're the head? Of course. Of course. Nothing good would happen to me. I'm lucky lightning hasn't struck me yet. That damned master. Why did he send me on this errand? I want to go home. Just then, another voice called out. What's going on? Sister, a guest has arrived. He says he's come to see father. A woman's voice echoed. To see father, you say? Just then, a woman's voice echoed, demanding, what business do you have with him? The woman, Jean Yeren of Sacred Hand Grounds stood before him. Wai Yonho, caught off guard, could only stammer, yes. He presented the letter. Jean Yeren examined the letter. She looked up and said, from the letter, it seems you came here to learn from the medical clan. Am I right? Wai Yonho replied, well, something like that. She continued, as you can see, our Sacred Hand Grounds is no longer in any shape to present itself as a proper medical clan. But even so, sending someone away who was introduced by Uncle Mun would bring shame to our late father. This place may be lacking, but I ask you to stay. Wai Yonho, feigning reluctance, insisted, no, I'm really fine. There are other medical clans out there, and I can just go to another one. So if it's too much trouble for you, I'll just leave. But Jean Yeren wouldn't hear of it. That is not acceptable. If we send away a guest who came to see our father, the world will point fingers at us. Wai Yonho tried again. If the situation doesn't allow it, that's understandable, isn't it? Jean Yeren's face hardened. Never. Meanwhile, Wai Yonho, now alone, muttered to himself, now that I think about it, I should have been more wary the moment I heard he was close with that rock-like scholar Mun. He sighed dramatically, throwing himself onto the floor. Whatever. It's still a physician's household. I guess I can stay. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Jean Yeren stood there, a feast laid out before her. Jean Yeren presented the meal, saying, I thought you might be hungry, so I prepared your meal first. It's not much, but please, eat plenty. Wai Yonho's eyes widened at the spread. Not much? This could last me 3 days. Please join me. I've already eaten, so don't worry and enjoy your meal, she said, stepping back politely. Wai Yonho dug in. So they're not quite as poor as I thought, huh? From behind him, Jean Yankin whispered, Sister, how did you get all this food? Jean Yeren shushed him. Be quiet. The guest is eating. We're this far away. He won't hear us. We're out of rice, so where did you buy all that? A man shouldn't meddle in household matters. Focus on your medical studies. Even if I try not to. Sister, what about your necklace? Jean Yeren replied, I put it away for now. Jean Yankin's eyes went wide. You've never taken that off for even a second. It was mother's keepsake. Did you sell it? Jean Yeren looked away, shamefaced. A keepsake. I merely pawned it at the Silver River Exchange. I'll get it back when things improve. Jean Yankin was distraught. Even if he is a guest, pawning mother's keepsake for a single meal is too much. Jean Yankin was furious. What are you saying? He came here looking for father. Do you mean we should treat someone like that carelessly? Wai Yonho looked increasingly uncomfortable. That's not what I meant. No, I can't eat this. Jean Yeren, oblivious, insisted, Is the food not to your liking? I'll bring out a new meal. So please wait a moment. Wai Yonho quickly interjected. No, it's not that I don't like the food. Internally, Wai Yonho was panicking. Could I turn this meal back into money somehow? So, Wai Yonho ended up eating it all. I still feel bloated. That woman, she could have just offered what she had. Why go so far? Wai Yonho found himself in front of a building. The Silver River Exchange, was it? Inside, the manager greeted him. What brings you here? Wai Yonho replied, I'm here to retrieve an item. The manager seemed intrigued. An item? What sort of item? Wai Yonho explained. I'm here to retrieve the jade necklace I left today through the Sacred Hand Grounds. The manager gestured. Please come inside. The manager's tone changed. I'm sorry, but that item wasn't sold by the Sacred Hand Grounds. It was pawned, so I can't return it. He introduced himself. Branch manager of the Silver River Exchange. Hey Daebung. Wai Yonho countered. I'm from the Sacred Hand Grounds. I don't believe I've seen you before. He clarified. I came yesterday. Hey Daebung presented a pouch. Will this do? Hey Daebung examined the contents. It's not enough. There's more than 2 tael of silver in there. Hey Daebung explained the terms. 1 tael of silver, several months' living expenses for a family. The young lady borrowed 1 tael of silver, yes. And, when reclaiming a pawned item, we collect 3 times the borrowed amount. If you don't reclaim it within 3 months, you'll owe triple again. Wai Yonho raised an eyebrow. That's usury, isn't it? Hey Daebung chuckled. Perish the thought. It's simply the rule of the exchange. If you dislike it, you can just sell the item instead. Wai Yonho pressed him. So you're saying I can't redeem it with this money? Hey Daebung replied. Regrettably, that's correct. Wai Yonho realized the implications. In other words, for the Sacred Hand Grounds, who were already worrying about running out of rice before pawning the necklace, will never be able to get the necklace back. There was no way. Jean Yeren didn't understand that. Wai Yonho asked. Do you take items as collateral here? Hey Daebung confirmed. Of course. Leave the item and repay 3 times the borrowed amount. The deadline is 3 months. Wai Yonho pulled out a golden hairpin. Loan me the rest on this. It's made of gold. It should be worth a lot. Hey Daebung examined it closely. It is certainly made of solid gold. Very well. For something like this, I can loan 1 tael of gold, but repayment would require 3. This seal. The hairpin was emblazoned with a seal. The office of the inspectorate? That's right. 3 taels of gold, was it? There's a problem. We have failed to take over the palace. The palace? Did Nok Gi not listen? The royal inspectors were so strong with their stance that Nok Gi's influence has been decreased. We might have to give up on the plan entirely. I see. There's a smaller problem with the Green Forest too. The Hubei Ping clan got involved while we were trying to take over the Green Forest. Has the Ping clan noticed what we're trying to do? It seemed like it was the Orthodox Murim alliance. not the Ping clan themselves. It doesn't seem like they have noticed our plan. It seemed more like they thought of it as a light bandit raid. All kinds of problems are bound to occur when executing a grand scheme. The key lies in how we resolve them. I understand. The matters with the physicians are going smoothly. Same with all others. It's almost time to tie the knot. They've been through a lot of hardships ever since he retired, but they have built up enough power that they don't need to concern themselves over his absence. They'll be able to make their debut in the world soon, and show the people how terrifying their sword is. Meanwhile, back at the pawn shop, Hey Daebung's eyes widened. This is? The gold hairpin was emblazoned with the seal of a royal inspector. Hey Daebung stammered. A royal inspector. So, 3 gold niang? He fell to his knees, groveling. I'm screwed, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. Why Yonho pondered the situation. What do I have to fix first? The fact that I completely ripped off that woman for her necklace, or that I demanded a ridiculous interest rate? Hey Daebung stammered, sir, the interest rate I requested is a bit high, but there are so many people who pawn their items and never return. I just have no choice. Why Yonho raised an eyebrow. With compound interest, our profit is only 4.5%. Then, what's the annual interest rate? Hey Daebung squeaked. Well, it's not much, at most 60%. Why Yonho was incredulous. 60% yearly? Not even 4%. 60 times? I've never even heard of such numbers in this context. Hey Daebung defended himself. But it's not much if you consider the value of the item. White jade is at least worth 10 silver niang. So the interest rate is. Why Yonho stared him down. Earlier, you said it's worth 1 silver niang. Now 10? Hey Daebung was losing it. That's. He screamed, lock the damn doors. I'm going to see this through to the end. Goodness, sir, my ass. Meanwhile, back at the Sacred Hand Manor, Jean Yeren was hard at work. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Who could be knocking on the door so late? She picked up the item. It was her mother's keepsake necklace. She clutched the necklace tightly. Mother, but who could have left this here? Meanwhile, Yonho was relaxing on the roof, having a grand old time. He patted his belly contentedly. I hope that pays for the food. Elsewhere, a stately building stood proudly, the sign reading Venerate Heaven Orthodox Murim Alliance General Strategist's Pavilion. Inside, a man stood before a tactical map, deep in thought. Sweat beaded on Hey Daebung's brow. Why am I here? Did I do something wrong? Well, I did do a lot of wrong things. He was led into the room. Hey Daebung was told to have a seat. Yes. He was now face to face with the Orthodox Murim Alliance's general strategist, divine strategist Jo Hyun. Jo Hyun began. Why would the divine strategist want to see me? I heard all about what happened at the Green Forest. You met the 10 swords of Green Forest? Hey Daebung was shocked. The 10 green swords of Green Forest? Jo Hyun confirmed. That's who was after you. It's a great fortune that you're alive. No wonder. He continued. I'll take care of the business with the Swift Dragon Escort Agency. Thanks to this, we'll be able to expose a bigger matter. The problem is the young man who helped you in that situation. Jo Hyun mused. The Swift Dragon Escort Agency is an elite group of the Green Forest. Peng Dojuk is very talented, but it would have been hard for him to handle even one of them, yet that someone considerably beat up 10 of them on his own. Jo Hyun pressed the informant for details. Did you get his name? His name is Wai Yonho. The name rang a bell. Wai Yonho. I saw that name in the message the beggar sect sent me. Jo Hyun's eyes narrowed. Did the second son of the Guangdong's Wai clan really return? Such martial prowess in just 5 years. The eldest son, Wai Sanho, is just as skilled too. Now, the second son, Guangdong's Wai clan might be the core of this chaos. There was one more thing he needed to know. Did he tell you where he was headed? The Sacred Hand Manor. Jo Hyun pondered the implications. Someone who returned after 5 years is heading to Hubei instead of home? He turned to the informant. I need more information on him, but you're the only one who knows what he looks like. The informant gripped Jo Hyun's robes. Can you help, please? Jo Hyun nodded. Yes, sir. Jo Hyun's face was a mask of determination. He knew what he had to do. I have to see him again. Wai Yonho. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to the fact that he was being hunted, Wai Yonho was taking a nap on the roof. A disciple looked up in disbelief. He muttered to himself, he's on the roof without even a ladder. Is he from the Murim? But there's no way someone who looks that homeless and just sleeps all day has learned martial arts. The disciple scoffed. I bet he's only learned the basics or something. A man shouted, is anyone home? The man continued, they're workers at the quarry. They were seriously injured by a falling boulder. Kiok, how long till the physician? Ugh, we brought over the ones who are alive. Another man pleaded, we don't have money right now. That's why we came here. Please help. Jean Yankin grimaced. Shoot. Just then, a voice boomed. What are you doing? Jean Soa, bring in the patients. Sister, categorize the patients. Send the non-urgent patients to the rooms, and take a look at the urgent ones first. Yes, sister. Send these 2 to the rooms and prepare hot water. What's going on? Lay the urgent ones down on the floor. Jean Yeren's hands moved with surprising speed, assessing the injured with practiced efficiency. Acupuncture needles appeared between her fingers, ready to be deployed. Jean Yaren's acupuncture skills were on full display, a flurry of needles and focused energy. Blood splattered as she worked with incredible speed. Despite the blood, her expression remained calm and determined. Hurry, can't you see the other patients? Do you intend on letting them all die? Okay, I need help with this. Help. You should know about acupressure points since you're from the Murim, right? Please take care of this patient here. Hurry. But I didn't learn it properly, so I'm not really sure. What do I do? Stimulate the Tien to acupoint halfway, and the Shongfu acupoint fully. Wai Yonho poked at the man's chest. So, the Tien to acupoint halfway, Zhongfu acupoint fully. Hey, this person is reacting strangely. The other man was losing his patience. Are you sure you pressed the Tien to acupoint halfway and the Zhongfu acupoint fully? Isn't it here? You're not even worth dog shit. That's not the Zhongfu acupoint. It's lower. Do it again. Wai Yonho looked annoyed. I told you I don't know it well. Huh, I think he's breathing. His airways are just not blocked anymore. You need to make him cough up blood and mucus. We're in a hurry, so inhale it with your mouth. Are you for real right now? Wai Yonho recoiled in disgust. I have to kiss this old man? Is there no other way? The man shouted. No, do it, otherwise he's gonna die. Wai Yonho grimaced. I just need to make him spit out what's stuck in his throat. No, you could have just said that. Why did you make me less than dog's hit of a man by telling me to press his acupoints? Wai Yonho clamped his hands over the man's mouth and nose. The other man looked on in disbelief. What the hell are you? The pressure was too much. The man coughed up a fountain of blood and phlegm. Wai Yonho locked eyes with the other man, his expression intense. Can't you tell? I'm saving a life. Under the moonlight, a man reads a letter with a serious expression. Mother did? Demon-slaying sword Wai Sanho, Wai Yonho's older brother. Meanwhile, back at home, Wai Yonho's mother was writing a letter. My beloved son Sanho, I would love to ask about how you're doing and all, but the matter at hand is too pressing. Yonho is alive. Her eyes widened. She continued writing. There was a letter from Yonho, after 5 years. I'm sure that should lighten the burden on your chest a bit. However, he's saying that he's not allowed to come home. Whatever that means. My son? Not allowed to come home? How dare they? Her husband interjected. Just rack instead of getting mad. She responded. Yes, ma'am, she concluded. So your father and I have decided to go look for him right away. Wai Yonho's mother finished writing her letter. I'm sending you this letter before we leave. Yonho's letter came from the Kaifeng branch of the house sect, so we're headed to Kaifeng. Sanho's face was illuminated by moonlight. He's alive. He steeled himself. No, now's not the time to get emotional. He stepped forward. Kaifeng is where Zhang Il is. Wai Sanho unleashed his power. Back at the house sect, someone knocked on Wai Yonho's door. Are you sleeping? Wai Yonho lay sprawled out, unimpressed. Yes, it doesn't seem that way. How can you be a physician when you don't even trust people? Jean Soa was clearly fishing for compliments. You did well today. It was a little helpful. A little? I saved a whole patient? She relented, a chibi version of her face appearing. You were greatly helpful. Alright. She refocused. Anyway, where do you think our problem lies? Wai Yonho barely opened one eye. Problem? There are so many. But why? Jean Soa explained her motivations. I want to restore the Sacred Hand Manor to its former glory. That's why I wanted to hear the objective truth from an outsider like you. Wai Yonho finally sat up, considering the question. Well, there are lots of problems, but the biggest one would be. Wai Yonho deadpanned. Money. Jean Soa blinked. Sorry? Money. She protested. Medicine is the most important thing to a physician's household. Isn't money a secondary problem? Wai Yonho countered. Then, think about it from the beginning. What brought on your household's downfall? You said that the giant physician's place across the street used to be yours. Jean Soa sighed, clearly troubled by the memories. Our father was a very friendly man. He did not have a single enemy. He treated patients for free just like we are doing now. She continued. He did not take payment from the poor even if the treatment cost an arm and a leg. Jean Soa explained. It was possible because we had wealth from previous generations, but the storage began running out of gold by the time I was born. By the time I matured, it was empty. She continued. There were many physicians working at that time, so we spent a lot. However, that debt wasn't crushing since we brought in quite a bit of money thanks to our skill and fame. But I think at some point, father realized that his method wasn't sustainable, so he thought of a way to repay the debt. Wai Yonho raised an eyebrow. So, was he scammed? Assassinated? What kind of nonsense? I think you've read too many novels. Jean Soa looked down, embarrassed. Well, you know, a way to gain a lot of money in a short time at a very high risk. She admitted the truth. Gambling. Wai Yonho was incredulous. You're telling me that he gambled to try and repay debts and brought his entire family to ruin? He was trying to just win big. Jean Soa nodded. Yes, he tried and tried again. He never ate proper food and only drank during those days, so he passed away from nutrient deficiency and alcohol poisoning. Wai Yonho was taken aback. What the hell? He continued. So you want to ask me how you're supposed to revive the Sacred Hand Manor? Why would you ask me that though? Since you brought a recommendation letter from Mr. Manhwa, the third grand scholar, you can't be any ordinary person. Wai Yonho smirked. But you're wrong. I am an ordinary person. This is something you should ask a professional. Ha Daifeng, the Milky Way Manor branch owner, chimed in. You ask a physician about medical stuff. You ask a pharmacist for medicine, with money, So, Royal Inspector. Why Yonho looked at him expectantly. You want me to invest in the Sacred Hand Manor? Yes, you got it. Think about it. Would the Sacred Hand Manor be in this state right now if you had been the one managing it? Ha Daefeng grinned. Of course not. They have the medical skills, but not the administrative skills. If you were to help with that? He rubbed his hands together, a glint in his eye. That would definitely bring in money. I don't want to work with him, though Wai Yonho's associate countered. You have no choice right now. This guy is the one who has the power of choice right now. You're not all that, you know? You can't be picky. Wai Yonho shot back. What did I do that's so bad? Being broke. Jean Yeren interjected, but our household is renowned for our medical skills. To work with a loan shark. What? Loan sharks? You guys are the ones who blew your money away like nothing. At least I know how to popcorn my money. Wai Yonho scoffed. Hey, do you think you dug up that fame from the ground? Where do you think it came from? Do you think that the Sacred Hand Manor would have lasted so long if they had given out treatments for free like you are doing right now? He continued his lecture. Your former pavilion was fancy too. The ancestors you're so proud of all received money from their patients. That's how they were able to build such a grand pavilion. Jean Yeren looked shocked. Is that true? Wai Yonho confirmed. Of course. Wai Yonho concluded. You have pride in your family in the first place because you're a famous medicine household. No? Then, you need to bring in money. You need to have a grand pavilion so that people will think, ah, they did really well in their career. Wai Yonho continued his lecture. All the really famous physician households are all rich, aren't they? Immensely wealthy. Patients aren't sparing with their money when their lives depend on it. See? The young man looked down, crestfallen. I thought medicine was about the people. His worldview shattered. The young man looked like he had lost his soul. Wai Yonho, now wrapped in a blanket, muttered, was I too straightforward? He closed his eyes. I feel like he's been really down since then. Oh, whatever. It's none of my business. Just then, a shout echoed through the Sacred Hand Manor. I told you to come. Wai Yonho, still wrapped in his blanket, looked up, clearly annoyed. What? What's going on now? A hulking figure barged into the building, dragging a patient by the collar. Let me talk to the owner. Where's Jean Yeren? The man's voice boomed with menace. Where's that damned matriarch? Jean Yeren stepped forward, her expression hardening. What are you doing? Why are you dragging a patient from their room? The brute sneered. Ho, so you're Jean Yeren. Don't you have any empathy? He continued his tirade. Empathy? Are you borrowing money from us because you have empathy? Your father borrowed money in the name of the Sacred Hand Manor. You need to either shut down the business or repay the debt. Jean Yeren stood her ground. Talk to us if you have a problem. What have the patients done? The brute responded with a menacing grin. Ooh, talk to you guys? He grabbed her wrist, his grip like iron. Jean Yeren cried out, struggling against his hold. Kaya, I didn't want to use this method either. He sneered down at her. But since you want to take care of it yourself. His face twisted into a predatory smile. Seeing as you're pretty, selling you to the brothel should pay off the debt. With your looks, you should be able to pay off the debt in about 10 years. Isn't that a good solution? Suddenly, a figure intervened, striking the brute with surprising force. Let her go. The brute was sent flying, crashing to the ground. So he sneered, it won't even take that long seeing as even your shocked face is pretty. Your brother should worry about how to use you for money instead of your safety. Jean Yeren shouted. No, not the physician. Take me instead. You terrible bastard. She bit down hard on the brute's arm. I'm gonna die anyway. I'll take you with me. The brute, enraged, growled, you little. Just then, Jean Yankyun shouted, stop it. This is not your problem to deal with. Don't put your hands on the patients. I'll go. Physician. The brute chuckled, kukuku. All right. Jean Yankyun was stunned. What do you mean? Jean Yeren reassured him. I'll repay the debt somehow. Don't worry about me. Just think about restoring our household. With a determined look, she took the brute's hand and walked away. Tears streamed down Jean Yankyun's face. Physician, sister. Wai Yonho watched them leave, a flicker of surprise on his face. Wait. As the brute led Jean Yeren away, a voice cut through the air. You can't go. The brute stopped, turning his scarred face towards the speaker. Who the hell are you? Wrapped in a white cloth, Wai Yonho stood his ground. He declared, I'm Wai Yonho. Wai Yonho, still wrapped in a blanket, declared, you can't go. The brute scowled, his face a roadmap of old scars. Who the hell are you? Wai Yonho simply stated, I'm Wai Yonho. The others watched in stunned silence. The brute's expression turned incredulous. What? Is he just stupid? Let's go. Wai Yonho repeated, with a touch more steel in his voice. I said you can't take her. The brute's patience snapped. What the hell is with him? If you do. The brute was about to retort when Wai Yonho cut him off. Who's gonna prepare my food? What? If you take her, there won't be anyone here to prepare my food. The brute stared at him, dumbfounded. This woman cooked for you? Wai Yonho confirmed. Yes. Why? Because I'm a guest? The brute's face contorted in rage. Are you stupid or something? What the hell kind of homeless ass? He roared, clenching his fists. All right. I'll make sure that you never have to eat again. Jean Yeren, seeing the impending violence, cried out, stop it. Wai Yonho unleashed a sudden burst of energy, sending the brute flying back with a resounding crash. Jean Yeren stared, utterly shocked by the display of power. The brute landed hard, creating a cloud of dust and debris. Wai Yonho, standing over the fallen thug, seemed almost apologetic. Are you alright? Ah man, this wasn't what I intended to do. It just happened. He's good. The brute, though clearly injured, struggled to his feet, glaring at Wai Yonho. Where are you from, Martial Master? He asked, his voice dripping with animosity. Wai Yonho shrugged, adjusting his blanket. I'm not a martial master. The brute's expression hardened. Don't intervene in this. It's a personal matter. We have a contract, so the government will be on our side too. Seems that way. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he issued a final warning. Then, don't intervene. Wai Yonho, still wrapped in his blanket, declared, I can't. I told you, I need someone to cook for me. The brute scoffed. That's just an excuse. He means that he will help them out. You mean to interrupt the business of the Dark Earth Branch sect? He continued. The Dark Earth Branch sect? The branch sect I am affiliated to, as well as whom the Sacred Hand Manor is indebted to. We will not just let this matter go. Wai Yonho replied, I don't mean to interrupt. So money is the problem right now. The thug narrowed his gaze. Do you mean to say that you will pay off their debt for them? Wai Yonho stated, I don't have money, but I'll make it, so leave. I'll send it within 2 weeks. The brute, now backing down, says, I trust that you will keep your promise. Meanwhile, back at the Dark Earth Branch sect, the leader is informed. A martial master in the Sacred Hand Manor? His subordinate confirms, yes. He called himself a guest. The leader repeats, a guest? The leader strokes his chin thoughtfully. A guest? An acquaintance of the former Sacred Hand Manor master? That makes things more complicated. The subordinate bristles defensively. So you ran off as soon as you saw that he was good? I am not such a coward, he stammers. He said that he would pay the debt in 2 weeks, so I thought I'd report on the situation first. The Dark Earth Branch sect leader explodes in fury. You idiot! Did I tell you to collect the debt? He continues his tirade, sending food flying. I told you to use the debt as an excuse to bring down their business. You just backed off after hearing that he would pay off the debt? The subordinate shrinks back, stammering. Well, I thought that it'd make more sense to figure out who he is first. The leader is not impressed. Too much talking. I'm going to cut your tongue off. The leader paces, considering the implications. If things do not go as planned, they will be enraged. Then, we'll be reduced to ashes. Then, should I kill him? He reconsiders, a bead of sweat forming on his brow. No, there's no need to provoke a martial master like that. He decides on a more cautious approach. Let's just keep an eye on him for now. Jean Yeren, exasperated, asks, what are you going to do? About what? Wai Yonho, still lounging comfortably, replies, you said that you'd pay off the debt in 2 weeks. Did I? Jean Yeren is taken aback. You didn't even have a plan in mind? What do you mean, did I? Wai Yonho, however, remains unbothered. A plan? I have one. He leans in slightly, a mischievous glint in his eyes. It's an ancient method. This is the best thing to do when you're dealing with a lone shark. Jean Yeren, clearly intrigued despite herself, asks, what is it? Wai Yonho grins, revealing his master plan. Have you heard of it? It's called running away in the night. Jean Yeren is floored. Are you kidding me? She throws her hands up in the air. I can't believe I actually thought that you had an idea, she sighs, before getting back to the immediate problem. So how much is the debt? Jean Yeren tells him, I don't know for sure, but I think it's about 20 gold niang. 2,000 in silver? How can someone be in such great debt? The young man sighs. It used to be more than 100 gold niang. We only have this much remaining because we paid it off with all our savings. Wai Yonho scoffs. Ha, this is ridiculous. That's what everyone says. Wai Yonho stands up. Oh well, let's go, the young man asks. Huh? Where? Wai Yonho gives him a predatory look. To get money. An eye for an eye. A tooth for a tooth. The young man is confused. What are you talking about? Wai Yonho smirks. The method I'm going to use to get money is how your father ended up bringing the entire family to ruins. Gambling. For screw it, the secret gambling house, Golden Flower Manor. Is it a failure today too? Golden Flower Manor Master Kong Qianlip wondered. Does everyone know that we rip off newbies or what? Maybe ripping off the Sacred Hand Manor long ago is what did it. Manor Master. What? Is the government here? Big one. What? An idiot customer. Wai Yonho, wrapped in a white cloth, stood his ground, asking, is this the gambling house? Yes, so please stop looking around. Jean Yankin watched with concern. Is it really okay? He wants to gamble his way out of debt. A man with a wide grin and a welcoming demeanor approached. Goodness, young master, what brings you here? Do you know me? He clasped his hands together. Of course, you're here to enjoy the day. Wai Yonho tilted his head, asking, what should I do here, mister? The man chuckled. Goodness, please do not speak to me so formally. Wai Yonho cleared his throat. Ahem. Alright, what do I do around here then? The man explained. We have all kinds of games such as ones with dice and cups. Anything that you can bet money on, you can do. This way please. You should see this game for yourself. This is it. What is this? They looks like die. This is called yin and yang. It's the most popular game here. It's very simple. I'll put these marbles in the cups and shake it up. Doing so will divide up the marbles into the 2 cups. When I put one of the cups down, you just need to guess whether the marbles are odd or even numbered. That's easy. That's why people like it. Games with complex rules have their own charm, but fast money is where it's at. Plus, you have a 50% chance of winning. It's perfect for your fiery personality. Yeah, I don't like like to wait for things. Right. Alright, then I'll play this. The game was set, and Wai Yonho was ready to play. He's doing well. It's easy to get a newbie idiot like him drawn in. You keep a nice balance, and let him win big once. Repeat, then he gets addicted. Seems like he's having real fun. Heh, how much is all of that? The Golden Flower Manor is basically getting robbed. Odd. What? I'm getting my money now that Wai Yonho is gone. Jang Il, the beggar sect branch leader, thought to himself, whistling. Before winter came, he had found a sturdy pair of doors that someone had thrown out. I sure am fortunate too. Is it true? Before him stood Wai Sanho, the demon-slaying sword, and Wai Yonho's older brother. Jang Il stammered. Wai Sanho grabbed Jang Il by the collar. Jang Il, I asked you if it's true that Yonho is alive? Jang Il, struggling in Wai Sanho's grasp, managed to choke out, it is true, so calm down, let me go. Wai Sanho, relieved, demanded, he really is alive. Where is he right now? Coughing, Jang Il wheezed. That's the house sex information. Ask them instead. I'll pretend you didn't do this since you just learned about your brother being alive. Wai Sanho grabbed Jang Il again. Let's go. Jang Il, understandably confused, asked, Where to? Wai Sanho answered, to the house sect. Jang Il, resigned to his fate, could only say, lead the way. Jang Il grimaced, thinking, these little shits. And so, the unlikely duo made their way to the house sect's Kaifeng branch. The house sect member panicked. Jang Il, you bastard, you brought the demon-slaying sword here? The orthodox Murim's best young martial artist? No, I didn't want to. Jang Il retorted, shut up, you and I are both gonna die today. I'm saying that I didn't want to. Meanwhile, back at the gambling table, the stakes were rising. How much is it if he wins again? Someone asked. The reply came. 1,000. 10 gold niang? One of the gamblers thought, shit, this is the most money I've seen bet. That's a lot. Another gambler wondered, what the hell is with him? Even, the tension in the room was palpable as the game continued. He's won 9 times in a row, this time too. Then the result was revealed. 4. It's even. 1,000. He's a gambling god. I never thought I'd witness something like this. You won. Wai Yonho, however, remained unfazed. I used to dodge just by listening for the sound of a flying rock while sleeping. This is way too easy. He continued, I can tell whether it's odd or even just from the sound alone. This is the best for earning money. Wai Yonho glanced at his winnings. It's a shame, but I better stop now. Just one more and I'll get my goal amount though. Suddenly, the crowd parted. What an important guest. I didn't realize. Kong Qianlip, it's the Golden Flower Manor Master. An important guest? I'm just a regular guy. Kong Qianlip chuckled. Haha, putting on interesting games at the gambling house makes you an important guest. I didn't find it interesting though. The Manor Master's smile tightened. Ha, you sure are an extraordinary man. Little shit. He ate up 1,000 niang, and he's saying he didn't find it fun? He leans in, suggesting, there are better places for you. Why not move to a bigger stage? Bigger stage? Kong Qianlip gestures expansively, coins glittering around his hand. Yes, a proper gambling stage. He continues, his smile widening. The real games have yet to begin. It'll be much more fun. Wai Yonho looked up at the man's hand looming over him. Ooh. Wai Yonho refused. I don't wanna. Get your things okay. The Manor Master was not pleased. He's gonna win 10 gold niang worth and just leave? You think I'd let you? Kong Qianlip tried to sweeten the pot. Goodness, you can't just leave like that. If you stay and play in the bigger games, I'll give you 5 gold niang. Wai Yonho tilted his head. Just because? Yes, of course. How about 10? Kong Qianlip paused, a bead of sweat forming on his brow. What the hell kind of dash? I'll give you 10. But the game will go on until one side runs out of all their money. Wai Yonho smirked, seeing an opportunity. I am too lazy to come back tomorrow. I'll do it if you'll give me 10. Kong Qianlip grinned, revealing his trap. Alright. Good idea. You fell for it, you stupid idiot. The opponent has accepted. Come on out. A shadowy figure emerged, radiating an ominous aura. The crowd gasped. It's Doke Bai. Doke Bai is here. A new challenger approached the table. Gambling king one-armed Doke Bai. Someone in the crowd exclaimed. You're telling me that he won all of that in just yin yang? Another observer scrutinized Doke Bai's appearance. He doesn't look like a gambler though. A bystander retorted. Well, if you win that much in gambling, that's what makes you a gambler, not your looks. Doke Bai, the gambling king, eyed Wai Yonho up and down. Are you my opponent? Yes. What are we doing? With a flourish, Doke Bai presented his game of choice. This is the game I recommend. Dice? Isn't that too normal? But it's definitely the most certain. This kind of game really brings out the skills in a gambler. Whispers rippled through the crowd. There's no way that boy will win against Doke Bai. No one can win against Doke Bai. Games involving dice are much more fair than complex games. Simply put, the one whose dice roll is higher wins. Are you against it? Wai Yonho gave a curt reply. No. The game will go on until one side runs out of money. Doke Bai grinned, revealing his yellow teeth. The stakes will double each game. You can add more money if you lose all your money. Doke Bai laid out the terms. But in that case, we'll have the winner decide whether to continue or not. Are you alright with that? Wai Yonho gave a short answer. Alright. Doke Bai raised his arms. Then we'll begin. The young man asked nervously, you can do well, right? Have you ever seen me not do well? But as the game went on, the mood shifted. The young man began to sweat. This is your 10th time losing. Right. He grabbed Yonho. Right. You told me to trust you. Right. We're gonna go bankrupt at this rate. You bastard. Dokbai announced. Seems like this will be the last game. This round is for 2,000 yang. The onlookers commented. He lost all the money he gained. Wouldn't he be in debt at this rate? This is why kids shouldn't gamble. Yonho watched with a bored expression. Dokbai threw the dice and declared, let's go. Yonho's eyes narrowed. The dice landed, showing highest all SIXS. The crowd erupted. Whoa, he got all SIXS. He got all SIXS. Amazing, all SIXS. As expected of Dokbai. Dokbai, riding high from his lucky roll, taunted. What will you do? You want to keep going? Yonho smirked. Why not? I think the winner's already been decided. Dokbai scoffed. You don't know that. Dokbai's lackey pleaded. Young master, do you trust me? Dokbai responded, Yek, of course. Who else would I trust? The lackey was moved to tears. No one's ever said that to me before. Dokbai took a deep breath, steeling himself for the next round. He declared, it's 40 gold niang if I win this one. Yonho nonchalantly tossed the dice, ready to continue the game. Dokbai's face contorted in disbelief as the dice settled. This is. The dice showed the lowest score possible. All ones. You son of a. Back in the present, the cloaked figure sat in contemplation. Who? Baek Muhan kneeled before him. I have yet to figure out their identity. The cloaked figure mused. A mysterious young boy who's skilled in martial arts. He ordered, kill him. No need to leave doors like that open. Kill him. But we don't know how skilled he is yet. The cloaked figure sneered, you useless. I'll give you more skilled martial artists. There is no need to drag it out. Go right now. And kill him. Yonho, sensing the incoming threat, muttered, shit, 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 shit. The crowd around the table was shocked. This is. Yonho rolled the lowest possible score. Lowest score, all ones. The young man who had put his trust in Yonho screamed, you son of a. Dokbai chuckled, a smug look on his face. You got unlucky. The young man was panicking. What happens now? We're so screwed. Dokbai spread his hands, revealing his winnings. Now that you don't have any money left, you just need to pay me back the 10 gold niang that I lent you. Yonho, unfazed, asked, no, that's not what I meant. I'm asking how much I need to keep playing, he stammered. Sorry? 40 niang. Yonho, ever the opportunist, saw a glimmer of hope. So I can keep playing if I have 40? Dokbai grinned, smelling blood in the water. We're the ones to decide whether we want to keep playing or not. But sure, we'll continue playing if you just bring the money. He's lost his mind. We'll rob you clean of your money. Yonho pressed his luck. Can you promise it? The gamblers eagerly affirmed, of course. A gambling house doesn't run without trust. That's right. That's right. All the people here are the witnesses. Yonho turned and headed towards the entrance. Come in. Just then, a portly figure burst into the gambling den, flanked by 2 muscle-bound guards carrying trays piled high with gold. Goodness, I was a bit late. Young master, the young man berated the newcomer. Why are you so late? I almost became a slave from all the money I lost. The portly man chuckled, unfazed. Goodness, you would never let yourself become that. The gamblers watched in shock as the portly man arrived with the gold. One of them recognized him. Aren't you Milky Way Manor's Ha Daifeng? Why are you here? Ha Daifeng bowed respectfully. Nice to meet you, Manor Master. I am here with the money my guest requested. It took some time because it had to be in gold. Yonho smirked, seeing his advantage. You promised that you'd continue playing as long as I have the money, and the minimum bet is double the last rounds, right? He gestured grandly. Let's add some more. What? Yonho announced the new stakes. The next amount is 100 gold niang. Dokbai was clearly sweating, but he tried to play it cool. Did you just say 100? Why? Are you scared? Yonho shot back, of course I am, you insane little shit. Dokbai's backer leaned in, whispering urgently. What do you think, Dokbai? Can you do it? Dokbai puffed out his chest. Are you doubting the gambling king right now? Not at all. Then I'm trusting you. Then we'll continue. Whoa, you've made it a much larger game. Was this a part of your plan? What are you talking about? I'm asking if you lost the previous games on purpose. Who would do something crazy like that? It's not like I'm filthy rich. Then why did you call the Milky Way Manor ahead of time? My mother always told me that no matter what I'm doing, I should have a lot of money. That's why. I start, right? Yonho, sensing the incoming threat, knew he had to act fast. He tossed the dice with a flick of his wrist, the crowd watching with bated breath. The dice tumbled and spun, a blur of white against the dark wood. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 5 SIXS, the last one. But the final die clattered to a halt, revealing a disappointing result. 5. It's a 5. What a shame. It should have been a 6 too, but that's still great. Of course, even if it's against Dokbai, this one might be winnable. Just one less. What a shame. Yonho watched as Dokbai tried to shrug it off. I don't know what you're talking about. Plus, 35 is a really high number to get. Dokbai's eyes narrowed, a sinister smile spreading across his face. No matter. It doesn't change anything. Though you underestimated me. He raised his hand, ready to roll again. I'll show you why I am called the Gambling King. The dice flew from his hand, clattering against the table. 6, 6, 6, 6, 5 SIXS. The crowd gasped, their eyes wide with disbelief. It's the Gambling King Doke Bai. After all, is it all SIXS again? The young man beside Wai Yonho was panicking. This is the biggest game there has been. What do we do? What? Why are you so calm? He continued to hyperventilate. We're gonna be absolutely broke if we lose here. You're sure about this, right? Wai Yonho, ever the pragmatist, responded with a non sequitur. Is your sister good at dancing? It's highly likely that she's going to a brothel if she sold. The young man was floored. What the hell are you saying? The crowd watched with bated breath, their faces etched with anticipation as the stakes reached astronomical levels. The die tumbled across the table, a single 5 glaring up from its surface. Another die rolled, revealing another 5. The final die settled, showing a 4. 4. The crowd erupted in a frenzy. It's 34. The kid won by just 100 niang. 100 gold niang. Holy shit. The announcer was stunned. Amazing. This will go down in history. He's the first to win this much from the Golden Flower Manor. The young man who had entrusted Wai Yonho with his family's fortune jumped on him, weeping tears of joy. Young master, hey, get off of me. You were just calling me a son of a bitch earlier. You won 100 niang. 100. The crowd cheered wildly, celebrating Wai Yonho's improbable victory. He's the best. What a game. You lost? You lost? The crowd turned on Doke Bai. Hey, Doke Bai, you said you could win. Doke Bai stared in disbelief, sweat dripping down his face. I may be the gambling king, but I guess the kid is a gambling god. Are you shitting me? Doke Bai, on the other hand, was internally panicking. I'm screwed. So screwed. The Golden Flower Manor's money. But Kong Qianlip, ever the showman, stepped forward to address the crowd. Now everyone, attention, Yua, that takes care of the financial relationship between the Golden Flower Manor and the young master Wai Yonho. Everyone here is a witness to the passionate game that went on here. Yeah, we're the witnesses. An official from the Golden Flower Manor stepped forward, acknowledging Wai Yonho's skill. It was a good game. Wai Yonho bowed slightly, accepting the praise. Kong Qianlip gestured to his men. Then, I'll put this money in the manor for now. Alright. The young man from before approached Wai Yonho, looking exhausted. I don't think I'm cut out for gambling. I am so out of energy just from watching. Are you alright? Wai Yonho replied. I'm just a bit tired. Manor Master Ha will take care of the money. Let's go home. I want to eat some good food and sleep. I know a really good place. But as the young man started to run ahead, he crashed into a group of people. I'll go get there. Oops, sorry. Wai Yonho turned to see what the commotion was. He narrowed his eyes, observing the group that his companion had bumped into. Considering the symbols on their clothing, they seemed to be from the Dark Earth Branch sect. The Dark Earth Branch sect. One of the men grabbed the young man by the collar. Who's Wai Yonho? Wai Sanho stepped forward. Wai Yonho, you're his older brother? The Dark Earth Branch sect members revealed that Wai Yonho had gone to Hubei with the Swift Dragon Escort Agency. Yes. Where is he right now? He's not here. He went to Hubei with the Swift Dragon Escort Agency. Wai Sanho simply replied, thank you. He turned to his companion. Let's go, the young man asked. Where to? Wai Sanho stated. Hubei. The young man was shocked. What? Who said I'm coming with? The young man dramatically threw himself on the ground. I can't go. I won't go. Just kill me instead. I ran all the way here without water or food, and now you want to go to Hubei? Just kill me instead. The woman watched silently. Wai Sanho told the young man. Please rest before you go. The young man was dumbfounded. No, I cannot. Why? Why not? Please. The woman offered. The world will talk badly of us if we just turn away guests so late at night. I will prepare the bath and food. Please rest before you go. The young man dramatically flung himself to the ground. I can't go. Just kill me. I'll die the way anyway. I guess I have no choice. He resigned himself to the situation. Then, thank you. The bath was prepared, steam rising from the water. Wai Yonho sighed in relief. Phew. He settled into the warm water. A beggar of the beggar sect having a bath. The leader would foam at the mouth if he saw me. Wai Sanho stood in the bath, his back to Wai Yonho. Wai Sanho stood in the bath, his back to Wai Yonho, looking like a Greek god. Phew, your body is bangin'. Is that scar from when you got the tailless phantom demon? The tailless phantom demon? Yeah, I heard that you almost died back then. Wai Sanho turned around, revealing a massive scar on his back. The scar I got from fighting that thing is nothing compared to when I got this. Then, how did you get that scar? Which demonic martial artist could have given you such a giant scar? Wai Sanho seemed to drift away, lost in thought. Demonic martial artist. Wai Yonho's face was filled with worry as he called out to his brother. Sanho, wake up. Sanho, it's a scar my little brother made. When he did not know how terrifying the sword could be, one of the men grabbed Wai Yonho, demanding, who's Wai Yonho? Wai Yonho nonchalantly answered, me. The man looked at him, speechless. The others confirmed, is it him? Yes. One of them exclaimed, he's way too young. I told you he's young. You said that he's a martial master, so I exaggerated in my report. This whole time, it was just some kid. Another scoffed, drawing his sword. Even a kid needs to pay the price for interfering in our work. Wai Yonho raised a hand, interjecting with a calm wait. Wai Yonho held out the document, ready to be signed. Yoa, let's get out of here. Huh, sign? Sign right there. Just sign it. I'll explain later, the young man replied. Okay. Wai Yonho turned to the men. And, just how much does the Sacred Hand Manor owe you guys? One of the men answered, 20 gold niang and 50 silver niang. The man looked into the chest, eyes wide. What is this? Wai Yonho explained, the debt the Sacred Hand Manor had with you guys. Now they don't owe you anything, so write a guarantee that it was paid off and take your money. The man stared in disbelief. You want to resolve everything with just this much? That's why I added more than what was owed. Oh. It does look that way. Sir, did you forget that what the leader wants isn't money, but the Sacred Hand Manor? What if they reconstruct themselves? That problem isn't important right now. I can't just let you guys get away with interfering in our business. So you want to fight? Fight? This is called a punishment. Bring me his head. Yes, sir. Suddenly, a flurry of blades clashed. Wai Yonho stared at his attackers, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. Punishment. You're gonna regret this. One of the thugs lunged forward, only to be met with a swift, brutal punch. The force of the blows sent the man flying backward. Another thug fared no better, crumpling under the force of Wai Yonho's fist. Wai Yonho unleashed a flurry of blows, a whirlwind of fists and feet that left his opponents reeling. The thugs, who had moments ago been so confident, were now scrambling to defend themselves against the onslaught. The thug's eyes widened in disbelief. What the? Another thug yelled. I told you he's a martial master. Damn it. Hey, I want to get this over with, so just tell the guys hiding in the back to come out too. The first thug, now sporting a sinister smile, muttered, How did you? Please come and help. Suddenly, a group of masked figures emerged, weapons drawn, ready to fight. Wai Yonho squinted at the approaching figures. What? You guys look familiar. Have we me dash? Before he could finish his sentence, Wai Yonho was launched into the air by a sudden, powerful force. The sudden attack sent Wai Yonho flying. Whoa, that scared me. He landed on his feet, now facing a group of assassins. I thought that it'd just be another chill fight, but that was sudden. Is that the hidden sword? Baek Muhan's voice echoed in his mind. There is a sword art that is specialized for just killing. It's mostly used by assassins, and its goal is to kill the opponent without being noticed. Wai Yonho frowned. Then, what should you do? He thought to himself. I don't know. Baek Muhan's voice grew stern. People who use that sword art are murderers who have killed countless people. You must neither go easy on them, nor underestimate them. Do not forget this. If you find them, kill them all right away. Wai Yonho sighed. I guess I have to give it my all since the old man said that. I'm too lazy for this though. He asked, Mister, can you hand me a sword? The man obliged. Here you go. Wai Yonho gripped the sword. It's gonna get a bit loud, so stay away. The assassins attacked, but Wai Yonho deflected their blows. You managed to dodge it. You're no ordinary kid. Baek Muhan's voice echoed in his head. The opponent is a martial master. Do not underestimate him. The assassins, undeterred, pressed their attack. Work together. Wai Yonho gripped the sword tightly, ready to face whatever came next. He closed his eyes, focusing. The assassins lunged forward, their movements a blur of deadly intent. The lead assassin's eyes narrowed, his face a mask of cold determination. Baek Muhan's voice echoed in Wai Yonho's mind. Do not let yourself be held back by each movement. Wai Yonho responded. I know. The start is an unbending spirit. Wai Yonho moved with newfound speed and precision, meeting their attacks head-on. Wai Yonho stood firm, ready to face the onslaught. You must not let your mind be shaken just because your opponent's sword is approaching you. He exhaled sharply, focusing his mind. You must wield the sword with a cool head to be able to respond accordingly to any kind of situation. He planted his foot, anchoring himself. Wai Yonho moved, deflecting the incoming blades with surprising speed. One of the assassins was caught off guard, his attack turned against him. Next is to imbue your sword with your mindset. Wai Sanho continued his instruction, his movements precise as he deflected another barrage of attacks. It may be two blades of the same steel, but if you do not put yourself into the steel, it is not a proper sword. The assassins pressed their attack, but Wai Yonho was beginning to find his rhythm. A sword with your will. Wai Yonho's eyes glowed with newfound resolve as he met their blades head-on. Wai Yonho's eyes burned with intensity, his focus sharpening. Can split even the mountains. He unleashed a flurry of attacks, each strike carrying the weight of his newfound understanding. What can be filled can also be emptied. An assassin lunged forward, but Wai Yonho was ready, his movements fluid and precise. Like how land dictates the flow of a river. Channel yourself into the sword. Wai Yonho stood ready, his movements now carrying a newfound confidence. In a blinding flash, the assassin's blade shattered against Yonho's defense. Baek Muhan's words echoed in his mind. What I have taught you is not a move. The remaining assassins stood frozen, witnessing the aftermath of the clash. It's a seed that might grow into anything. The other members of the Dark Earth Branch sect looked on, stunned. The seed of understanding began to sprout, its potential limitless. A perfect sword is created with your mind. The words of Baek Muhan resonated within Wai Yonho, igniting a spark of understanding. He stood tall, a beacon of determination against the shadowy figures of the Dark Earth Branch sect. Create your own sword. The energy around Wai Yonho intensified, crackling with raw power as he manifested his own unique sword. His eyes burned with newfound resolve, a testament to the seed of power that had taken root within him. With a surge of energy, he unleashed the full force of his technique. The force of the blast sent shockwaves through the room, shattering the floor beneath them. The members of the Dark Earth Branch sect cried out in agony as they were blasted backward. The bodies of the Dark Earth Branch sect members lay scattered across the floor. Baek Muhan's spirit loomed behind Wai Yonho, a silent guardian. Wai Yonho declared, "I've cut your chi veins and closed off your ability for martial arts. You won't be able to wield the sword anymore. Regardless of what kind of lives you have led until now, you won't be able to harm others any longer." He continued, "Pay the price for having oppressed others just because you are stronger than them." Wai Yonho stared at the fallen members of the Dark Earth Branch sect. These people really felt familiar though. Wai Yonho mused, "Well, I'll figure it out one day." The man trembled in fear. Wai Yonho turned to him, asking, So? Heek? Wai Yonho yawned. "Didn't you say that you were gonna punish someone?" Wai Yonho yawned again. "Didn't you say that you were gonna punish someone?" The man stammered, fear still etched on his face. "Young master." He tried to explain himself. "Master said that not doing anything about the guys who mess with me is a personal insult to him. I tried to live by his words." He groveled on the floor, desperate to change Wai Yonho's mind. "But people can make mistakes sometimes, you know? If you'll forgive me, I'll switch my life around and live as a good person." Wai Yonho considered the plea, unimpressed. "Changing for the better is good, but who's gonna believe you after all that you've done?" He continued, his tone nonchalant. "Killing you is a bit much. I'll just take an eye for an eye instead." "Then, what do you—" He paused, tilting his head. "An eye for an eye?" The man could only stare at the bodies of his comrades, now regretting his life choices. The man paled, realizing the implications. "You mean you're gonna remove my ability to use martial arts again?" Wai Yonho grinned, a little too cheerfully. "Yep, you got it. I love when people know what I mean right away. Is there really no other way?" Wai Yonho's smile widened, an unsettling expression that promised no mercy. The man's face contorted in despair. "Sheet!" With the formalities out of the way, Wai Yonho turned to the last conscious member of the Dark Earth Branch sect. He casually asked, "Now guide me." "Where to?" The man, defeated, could only croak out, "Their base." Divine Mad Dog dramatically narrates, that day, the Dark Earth Branch sect, which had been the greatest in Hubei, met their downfall. Meanwhile, back at the Sacred Hand Manor, a woman stood on the balcony, lost in thought. "Where has my brother gone?" Suddenly, her brother burst through the door. Sis, do you know what I did?" "What are you so excited for? We repaid all our debts." "You must have been dreaming." "No." Her brother began to explain. "What happened is, the night sky was clear, the moon hanging high above the Sacred Hand Manor." Soa's eyes widened. "Really?" Her brother grinned, throwing his arms wide. "That's what I said. We're free now. It's all thanks to Mr. Y." Soa clasped her hands together, a relieved smile gracing her lips. "Ah, I see. I'm glad. We owe him." "However, Soa," her brother wagged a finger sternly, "it was wrong to try and repay the debt through gambling." "Sis, I'll let it pass this time since you weren't the one gambling, but don't go anywhere near the gambling house again." Soa's brother, clearly still upset, questioned, "Is the method with which we tried to repay the debt that important?" Soa countered, "A person who does not walk the orthodox path is bound to hit a wall. How could you be okay with gambling after witnessing what our father went through?" He shot back, "But you might have been dragged off to the escort house otherwise. Can you still say that it was bad?" Soa stood firm. "Yes, a physician should walk the orthodox path." Her brother scoffed, "You're too stuck up." Soa sighed, frustrated. "I did my best for you, but all you can see is what you should lecture me for. It's all for your sake." He threw his arms wide, gesturing around the courtyard. "Look at this place. If we did things your way, we would be staying in this place forever." The man looked down at the items Wai Yonho had given him, asking, "Is this really for me?" Soa declared, "I learned a lot from Mr. Y. I do not want to live the way you do." She continued, "I want to live my own life." Under the moonlight, Soa and her brother stood resolute. The scene shifted to a grand, traditional building, Pine Forest Great Hanlin Institute. A man greeted them with a smile, "Welcome." Another man clasped his hands together, bowing slightly as he said, "I am honored that you would welcome us despite our unannounced visit. I heard that you are Mr. Y's older brother. You are an important guest then, so of course we should welcome you. I apologize for anything he might have done that was rude." He was met with, "Not at all." "So you said you're looking for him?" The man paused, before asking, "In that case, can I say something?" He waited for the response. "Yes?" He leaned forward, his eyes intense. "Do you know of great potential?" He continued, "It's not something that can be restricted. Considering your personality, I'm sure you will try to shape your brother to your expectations. However, that will only ruin him. Everyone ends up hurt when you try to squeeze a horse into a small house. So let him be free. Then one day, he will become a horse running through the plains." With a thoughtful expression, Wai Yonho considered the man's words. "Thank you for your consideration. I will think about your advice." Wai Yonho and his companion walked away from the manor, heading back into the forest. His companion looked at Wai Yonho, clearly bothered. Why do you look so displeased when we were fed and rested? Why Yonho paused, turning to face him. How was my brother when you saw him? Your brother? The man scoffed, rolling his eyes. I only treated him well because he's your brother. If he weren't, I wouldn't even have considered him human. He's so lazy and he's evil, like he's from the unorthodox Mirim. He's more cunning than a politician. He continued to rant, his voice rising in frustration. He's really annoying. Why Yonho listened to his companion's rant, a thoughtful expression on his face. So that's what you think? The divine mad dog chimed in. Most normal people cannot see through Yonho's talent. Otherwise, he's changed a lot from how he was in the past. Why Yonho was sprawled out, fast asleep. Suddenly, he shot upright, eyes wide. How long did I sleep for? He groaned, rubbing his head. That damn sleep training. I got beaten up in my dream. So why does it feel like I got beaten up in real life? What you have done for us is greater than anything. Shit! I cannot possibly repay you for it all. Why are you doing this? Get up. Could I ask you for a favor? Why Yonho looked at her, a little dumbfounded. Am I being cursed by my ancestors or something? What is it? She pleaded with him. Please change Soa's mind. He has to inherit the Sacred Hand Manor. He must revive the household and regain our honor. However, he is shaken right now. Please change his mind. Why Yonho tilted his head, confused. I don't get it. Aren't becoming a great physician and reviving the Sacred Hand Manor two different things? What's more important? Why Yonho looked at her, trying to figure out what she wanted from him. Am I supposed to pick one? Well, they're two different things after all. She looked up at him, her expression firm. The revival of the Sacred Hand Manor, she continued, her voice full of conviction. Even if he becomes a great physician, father's will cannot be kept if he does not resurrect the Sacred Hand Manor. She paused, then added, however, if the Sacred Hand Manor is revived, we will have a chance of getting a great physician in the future. Why Yonho nodded slowly. I see what you mean. So the priority is the revival of the Sacred Hand Manor. She looked up at him expectantly. For that to happen. Why Yonho smirked, a glint in his eye. There is actually a really simple solution. Meanwhile, back at the Dark Earth Branch sect, Gay Nang Nang was fuming. I should have killed that beggar. She continued, I'm still so mad. We'll be going now. Let's go, buddy. How dare he bring the demon-slaying sword here? When I see him next, I'm gonna. Just then, one of her subordinates rushed in, clearly agitated. Branch leader, there's a problem, he exclaimed. What now? The subordinate stammered. Well, a man stepped forward, his gaze piercing. Are you in charge around here? Gui Nang Nang narrowed her eyes, assessing the newcomer. Anyone's coming here these days, huh? Ha, yes I am. The man confidently declared. I am Wai Zhonghan. Gui Nang Nang's eyes widened in disbelief. Wai Zhonghan, the righteous chivalrous swordsman. Wai Zhonghan. Wai Zhonghan puffed out his chest. Yes, that's me. Then, since you know me, I won't have to explain as much. One of the subordinates started. We're looking for our Dash, but was swiftly cut off by Wai Zhonghan's sudden strike. Move, Yua! Wai Zhonghan seemed more concerned with his reputation than the task at hand. We're busy enough as is. Why are you flexing? Saying it's just, I'm famous, so. His companion was less than impressed. Is that what's important? She deadpanned. Nope. Gui Nang Nang could only stare, a mix of shock and disbelief on her face. That's the righteous chivalrous swordsman? Gui Nang Nang cleared her throat, preparing to ask a serious question. Yonho sent a letter to us from here. Can you explain what happened? Gui Nang Nang pressed on, seeking answers about Yonho's whereabouts. By your son? Do you mean Mr. Y Yonho? The man confirmed yes. She continued. He should have arrived at the Sacred Hand Manor by now. He replied. The Sacred Hand Manor? Yes, before that, he was at the Great Hanlin Institute. Gui Nang Nang questioned. The Sacred Hand Manor is a physician household. Is he hurt? I didn't hear about any problems with his health. The man stroked his beard, a thoughtful expression on his face. But that's strange. He elaborated. My son is very lazy. He's not the type to stay in contact with someone regularly. So how do you know all this about him? Gui Nang Nang realized damn it, I ended up saying too much. He's asking if I have been keeping an eye on Wai Yonho. The man's face hardened. You better answer properly. She thought this might be really bad. Meanwhile, the reconstruction of the Sacred Hand Manor was completed very quickly. They utilized what once was the Dark Earth Branch Sect's building. What money they didn't have, they got from looting the building. For having repaid their debts. Wai Yonho threatened Jin Soa. What is this? Wai Yonho presented him with a promissory note. You owe me 20 golden yang. You see your signature here? This is what you made me sign last time. Jin Soa stammered. I thought you were just doing us a favor. Wai Yonho smirked. Nothing in this world is free, man. I repaid your debt as an investment. So reconstruct the Sacred Hand Manor and return it to its former glory to repay me. I'll make it easy for you. 1 golden yang per year. You'll pay it all off in 20 years then. Jin Soa was shocked. 20 years? Wai Yonho held out the contract. Sign this if you get it, or you can repay the 20 golden yang now. This is basically a slave contract. He quickly signed it. I've been scammed. Wai Yonho watched him leave. That takes care of things. Jin Soa's subordinate was shocked by the terms of the deal. Why did you do that? Wai Yonho looked at him, a slight smirk on his face. What? The subordinate couldn't believe it. There is no contract as stupid as this. He continued, pressing the issue. Why are you being so nice to him? He elaborated on his confusion. Aren't these conditions too good? Even if he tries hard on his own, he won't be able to return the Sacred Hand Manor to its former glory in just 20 years. Wai Yonho took a sip of his tea, unfazed by the questions. The Sacred Hand Manor may be renowned, but it's not something that you really need. That's true. The subordinate was still trying to understand Wai Yonho's motives. So what is the reason you are helping them out by paying all these fees? I don't see what you're gaining out of this. Wai Yonho casually drops the real reason behind his generosity. Connections? Connections? He continued, so I may be young, but he will be a great physician one day. Wai Yonho elaborated, once he revives the Sacred Hand Manor and becomes a great physician, he will be able to save many people in the future. He concluded, so I'm going to believe in him and watch how he does. I'm giving him the opportunity to do that. I find it hard to understand, but if that's what you want. The subordinate was moved by Wai Yonho's words. I didn't know he was being that considerate. He clenched his fist, realizing I had just been complaining without even knowing. With newfound resolve, he took off running. What I can do is to work hard to repay him for his trust in me. The subordinate, now motivated, thinks, I need to get it together. Wai Yonho watches him go. Is he gone? The other man confirms, yes, he is. Wai Yonho smirks. It's so easy to fool a kid. The other man laughs. You didn't even really fool him. They both laugh together, clearly pleased with themselves. The sign for the Sacred Hand Manor is shown. As the manager of the Sacred Hand Manor, Ha Daifeng quickly proceeded to prepare to open the business. Opening day of the Sacred Hand Manor had arrived. The orders came flying in. There isn't enough food. Tell them to make more. If there aren't enough people, bring everyone you know. Tell them that we'll reward them handsomely. There isn't enough space. Open up the unused patient rooms. Set up everywhere. Take in all the people who come. But we'll run out of all our ingredients. Buy more. Just buy more. Jean Soa steeled herself. Get it together. Jean Soa. Sacred Hand Manor Master Jean Soa. Whispers spread through the crowd. That's the eldest son of the Sacred Hand Manor, right? He grew up that much already? He has the qualifications to inherit the place if he has even half of his father's skills as a physician. Then, what about that fake Sacred Hand Manor? It'll probably shut down. The customers began pouring in. Coming in. As the Sacred Hand Manor bustled with activity, a distinguished figure arrived, causing quite a stir. The sound of his footsteps echoed as he approached. Those nearby could only stare in awe. Here comes the Great Administrator. You're here, Great Administrator. Ahem. The Great Administrator arrived in style, riding in a fancy carriage. He surveyed the scene with a critical eye. The Great Administrator receives a deep bow from the Sacred Hand Manor's heir. He booms, I am overjoyed to see the Jean family's Sacred Hand Manor be reconstructed. He asks, so you're the former Sacred Hand Manor Master's son? The young man replies nervously, yes, sir. The Great Administrator declares, all right. I, the Great Administrator, officially recognize the reconstruction of the Sacred Hand Manor. I believe you will do your best for the people. The heir responds, of course, sir. The crowd erupts in cheers. The Sacred Hand Manor has been revived. Our city's pride is back. This is Hubei's pride, not just the city's. The Great Administrator booms. Visit the Sacred Hand Manor whenever you are sick and in need of help. The people of the nation must be healthy for the nation to be healthy. The heir responds, yes, sir. Don't worry, Great Administrator. The crowd continues to cheer. The Great Administrator came to see the opening of a physician's hall. This isn't just any physician's place. It's the Sacred Hand Manor. Right. The Sacred Hand Manor is the best there is. The real Sacred Hand Manor. The father beams. Right. Father, are you listening? The heir looks determined. I'll do really well. Please watch over me. The father asks, his eyes glistening, was that good enough? Wai Yonho replies coolly, yes, that was perfect. The heir says, then, please keep your promise. Wai Yonho smirks. Of course, but I'll be keeping this record of bribes. After all, I've got to make sure that you keep to your word. The Great Administrator grimaced, clearly regretting his choices. Then I'll get going. Wai Yonho waved goodbye. Take care. The Great Administrator puffed on his pipe, contemplating the situation. For such records to end up in the hands of a royal inspector, I'd better behave for a while. The next morning, a surprised voice cried out, what? The crowd surged forward, eager to get in. Ah, I told you not to push. Get in line. One man sniffed the air, trying to find the end of the line. Where does the line end? I smell it. It smells, he paused. Huh. His eyes sparkled with greed. It smells like money. Let's suck the money out of them all. Another man scoffed. What the hell are you saying? Meanwhile, at Nature's Hand Manor, a different scene unfolded. Nature's Hand Manor, why aren't there any patients? One of the staff nervously explained. Well, a new Sacred Hand Manor opened up. Everyone went there. The man's eyes widened in disbelief. What? The Sacred Hand Manor? He slammed his hands on the table in frustration. How can there be the Sacred Hand Manor when the Sacred Hand Manor Master doesn't exist? His son established it, he exclaimed. His father put them in huge debt from all the gambling. How would he have had the money to get it up again? Another man grimaced. Everything had been going so well after I got that bastard into gambling. He stammered nervously. What now? We are responsible for this. If things go wrong, all the blame will be put on me. His companion looked equally concerned. But what can we do? They've already established the place. The first man's expression hardened. If we cannot undo the knot, just cut it. Heek. A small figure looked up, sweat trickling down their face. What a shame. Sorry? Meanwhile, Yonho was relaxing on the roof. The young master of the Sacred Hand Manor who just managed to stand back on his own 2 feet. Meets an untimely death at the hands of a robber in the night. What a misfortune. Stash away enough money to donate at the funeral. The young lord of the Divine Hand Manor, who had just barely managed to get back on his feet. To think he met a violent end at the hands of a robber last night. Isn't that just so tragic? Make sure to prepare a generous amount of condolence money for the funeral. Meanwhile, at the Murim Alliance headquarters. What did you say? The Green Forest bandits made contact with the Iron Blood sect? Murim Alliance leader, John Guxi Mechionesi, looked concerned. Yes, that is the result confirmed by a child named Ping Dojuk of the Pun clan. He was chased by the 10 swords of Green Forest, but by a stroke of luck, he managed to fight them off and escape. Even the 10 swords? If they considered it that important, we must assume the Green Forest and the Iron Blood sect are already working together. The current martial world was chaos itself. Thanks to 20 years without any major incidents, each faction had stockpiled unprecedented power. However, what is full is bound to overflow. Demonic and orthodox factions centered around the Justice Alliance in the east and the Heavenly Medical Union in the west. Small disputes often escalated into massive bloodbaths, and it was common for entire sects to disappear over minor clashes. What about the Heavenly Medical Union? They haven't made any moves, however. The Iron Blood sect has had friendly relations with the Heavenly Medical Union since ancient times. If the coordination with the Green Forest happened under the protection of the Heavenly Medical Union, the situation could become much larger. If we end up antagonistic towards the Heavenly Medical Union, how much blood will have to be spilled? Leaving that aside, you said the child named Ping Dojuk fought off the 10 swords and escaped. It is said that a child named Y Yonho helped him. The man stroked his chin thoughtfully. Y Yonho. He appears to be the second son of Y Zhonghan of the Guangdong Y clan. He disappeared 5 years ago and only recently reappeared. The man's eyes widened, a grin spreading across his face. Why Zhonghan, the Sword of Justice? I see. Indeed, who else but him could raise such a child? He chuckled, remembering the Sword of Justice. It's been hard to see that friend's face for the last 5 years. He was busy raising a dragon. The man's eyes sparkled with excitement. That is not all. His eldest son is Y Sanho, famous as the demon-slaying sword. He stood up, pacing back and forth. In 10 years, the Guangdong Y clan might become the #1 clan under the heavens. That is delightful news. Y Yonho, Y Yonho. Why Yonho? The man clasped his hands together, imagining the possibilities. Since he was raised by the Sword of Justice, his conduct must be upright and his chivalrous spirit immense. A dragon has risen from the Y family. He nodded decisively. He will surely do great things for the Murim. Y Yonho was catching some Z's on the roof, completely unbothered by the chaos he'd set in motion. Dash? Someone asks, where is Soa? He fainted a little while ago. The man replies, take care of his health in advance. We can't have him collapsing. I already ordered some herbal medicine for him. Y Yonho turns to Manager Ha. Anyway, Manager Ha, about that bet we made. I think you need to pay up now. The manager replies, pardon? Just then, a group of assassins stormed the Sacred Hand Manor. Y Yonho casually accepts the payment. See, I told you they would come today. Ahem, you are far too impatient. Since you predicted it, surely you prepared for it? Y Yonho stood ready with his broom. One broom is enough. How dare you try to touch my money source? The assassins lunged forward, weapons drawn. Y Yonho spun, the broom a blur of motion. One of the assassins screamed, die. Meanwhile, a building stood silhouetted against the night sky, its sign reading Hao Clan, Kai Feng Branch. Elsewhere, an older man stared intensely at a young woman. My son is naturally lazy. He isn't the type to keep in touch with a young lady on his own. How do you know his whereabouts so well, young lady? That is, shit. I got swept up in the mood and blabbed everything I knew. He's asking if I was keeping a watch on young Master Y. You'd better answer me straight. One wrong move and I won't be able to avoid a disaster. The man grabbed her by the collar, demanding answers. Quaff, saying that hurts. I said it hurts. How many times do I have to tell you not to interfere? If a grown woman is tracking the movements of a grown man, isn't it obvious? So, you're saying our Yonho is in Hubei? Yes, that is correct. Then can you tell us where the Divine Hand Manor is? She continued, that isn't difficult, but I don't know how long young hero Y will stay at the Divine Hand Manor. He didn't stay at the Hanlin Great Academy for very long either. She offered, if our informant accompanies you to track his movements, you won't lose your way. I can help you with that much. The man thought to himself, she maintains a friendly attitude even after hearing my identity. Yet she remains confident. She is an extraordinary and decisive young lady. He replied, I will consider this a favor from you, young lady, not the Hao clan. If it aligns with righteousness and reason, I will repay this debt to you in the future. She asked, now, who is that the informant that will guide us? He responded, TSK, you really are dense. She inquired, so, how old are you, young lady? The young lady replied, pardon? I just turned 26. I see. Are both your parents well? My father is healthy, but my mother passed away when I was young. He said, you must have suffered a lot. These days, that's no reason for it to be a flaw. So, you look frail. can you handle the trip to Hubei? Pardon? I'm grateful you'll guide us, but it will be a long journey. What kind of nonsense is this? Wait, Sword of Justice Y Zhonghan and Demon Slaying Sword Y Sango, and adding Y Yonho to that. If things continue this way, the Guangdong Y clan could become a contender for the greatest clan in the world. She smirked, a hint of amusement playing on her lips. Don't worry, mother. Despite how I look, I am quite sturdy. I will get ready quickly, so please wait a moment. Ho ho ho, yes, go and come back quickly. Sanga, in my eyes, that young lady, suddenly mother? She didn't seem to have any particular feelings for Yonho. The matriarch of the Y clan turned to her husband, a glint in her eye. Honey, do you think Yonho can get married on his own? She continued, laying out her plans. No, maybe when he was missing it didn't matter, but now that he's back, we must prepare. He's of age. Even if there's no affection, we just have to tie them together. If they see each other often and travel together, the possibility is high enough. She's a bit older, but she's smart and pretty, so we have to accept it. If she isn't that smart, she won't be able to handle Yonho. Her husband, overwhelmed by her intensity, could only think, women are scary, terrifying. Meanwhile, the Y clan estate seemed to tremble under the weight of something. Back in his room, Y Yonho slumped at the table, utterly exhausted. Ego, my aching body. Baek Muhan slurped down his noodles without a care in the world. Tastes like honey. Aren't you going to eat? Can you eat rice in front of someone dying of exhaustion? Y Yonho's companion looked up from his noodles, asking, if I do this, will I really develop as a physician? Y Yonho assured him, of course. There are no prodigies in medicine. By seeing many patients, you will develop faster than anyone. In other words, grind yourself to dust seeing patients. The boy responded skeptically. That is a very plausible lie. He paused, then asked, is it true though? Changing the subject, he inquired, by the way, what happened last night? I feel like I heard screams though. Y Yonho casually replied, nothing happened. Fufufu. I caught them all and tossed them all into the magistrate's office. Y Yonho slurped his noodles, declaring, with this, Hubei will be eaten by our divine hand manner. Just then, a subordinate entered the room. He announced, Lord, a certain woman has come to visit. Just then, an unexpected guest arrived at the Sacred Hand Manor. SI sister. She demanded, what is all this? She declared, first of all, quit immediately and come back. She continued, medicine is a benevolent art. It is not work for merchants. But right now, you are trading medicine for profit. She ordered, what are you doing? Pack your bags immediately. He responded, are doctors not human? His sister retorted, everyone else tries to make money and gain fame to rise in the world. Why must doctors always eat gruel and live in poverty? Have you forgotten the teachings of our ancestors? She fired back, reminding him that those ancestors lived in houses as big as whales, and they lived comfortably by making money through medicine, which followed naturally from practicing benevolence. It wasn't money earned for the sake of money, he retorted. The one who doesn't understand is you, sister. He continued, I don't think I'm walking the righteous path right now either, but at least I'm not arrogant or self-righteous like you. Why do you still not understand that following your motives or desires, the name of the divine hand manner will never be known to the world? She declared, I am not a puppet that does whatever you say, sister. You go your own way, sister. He shouted after her, I will make the divine hand manner known to the world in my own way. Soa. Y Yonho watched the siblings argue. Look at that guy. Watch his tone with his sister. Soa stared ahead, her expression unreadable. Y Yonho tilted his head confused. Why? The woman glared. This is all because of you, young hero. Meanwhile, a carriage sped away into the night. Inside, a subordinate spoke. Just in case, order them to erase any traces of us at the Divine Hand Manor. Understood, young master. The subordinate hesitated. But young master, isn't it a waste to throw away all the foundation we built in Wuhan? The young master replied, it is a waste, but it's better than losing everything by clinging to it. Was there really a problem? The woman's expression hardened. The fact that an unidentified boy intervened is the problem. Since ancient times, small omens have often turned into massive problems. Even if I personally punish him, there's no way an expert of that caliber is alone. His backer will surely appear. The woman considered their options, so it is better to wash our hands of it. Win or the woman who had been humiliated earlier was now drinking alone. Drinking alone ruins your stomach. He hoped the other man's anger had subsided. I hope your anger has cooled a bit. Just then, a voice broke the silence. Can you give me a glass